and welcome to More Math Homework Help. I am Miss Moore, and I am here to help you with your math homework. So at any time during this live, if you have any homework questions, feel free to look in the description of this video and submit your homework questions on the form below. Remember, I am here every Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Right here, 7:30 p.m. to answer your homework questions. All right, so we have a very special student guest tonight. And so I am going to bring him up now. Hello, my student guest.
Hi.
Hi. All right, so what we're going to be doing tonight is subtracting with regrouping. So first of all, first thing I want you to do is tell me how I should subtract this. So there's no regrouping with this, but just tell me how I should subtract these numbers.
Subtract 3 from the 4 and then put a 1.
Okay, so we're going to start here, right? In the ones column.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so you said 3 from the 4 and you get 1. Excellent. And then where are we going to go?
We're going to subtract 2 from the 5.
Okay, and what do you get?
3.
Excellent. And then what?
We're going to subtract the 1 from the 4 and get 3.
Excellent. So subtraction is not the issue, right? You can subtract, which is great, half the battle. Okay, so now what if I take away, instead of having a 4 here, oops, sorry, let me get rid of this. Instead of having a 4 here, what if we make it a 2? How is that going to change things?
It's not, because you would have to switch the 2 with the 3.
Okay, so we still start here, right? Which is great.
Yeah.
You know that we do that. Okay, so I have, this is saying 2 minus 3. Can I do that?
No.
No. Okay, there's more on this bottom part, right? We call this the floor. There's more on the floor, right? And we need the bigger number to be on top, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because before it was a 4, and we like that. We like more on the top. So I'm going to teach you a little rhyme. Okay, so it says more on top. I don't know if your teacher ever taught you this. No need to stop. Because it's just how we want it, right?
Yeah.
So when there's more on top, like when this was a 4 and it was 4 minus 3, we don't have to stop. We just subtract 4 minus 3, right?
Yeah.
Right? And it was 1, okay? But when there's more on the floor, we need to go next door, okay? We can't just switch it around. I can't just do 2 minus 3 and make it 3 minus 2. That's not the same thing, okay? So we can't, that's not allowed in math, okay? They're like, nope, you cannot switch it. Foul on the play, red flag. We can't do it, okay? So, but what we can do is borrow from a neighbor, okay? What's the next door neighbor to this 2?
A 5.
Good, okay? So we need to borrow from this 5, okay? So we go next door and say, hey, I need to be bigger because I'm small right now. I'm just a 2. And I don't have enough to give away. I can't take away 3 from 2 because it's not enough. So I need to borrow. So you go next door, okay? So more on top, no need to stop. We don't need to stop. But when there's more on the floor, we go next door, okay? So more on the floor, go next door. And you're going to beg your neighbor and say, please, please, please help me. Okay, how much are we going to borrow from our neighbor?
A 10.
Good. Okay, so instead of the 5, it becomes a
It's 4.
4. Good. And then we borrowed 10, so now we get to get bigger, right? So 10 plus 2 is
12.
excellent. Okay, so now we're bigger. Now we're more on the top. 12 minus 3. What is it?
11.
Not 11. 12 minus 1 is 11, but 12 minus 3.
9.
Good. 4 minus 2. Now we have to do 4 minus 2.
20. 2.
2. Good. That's correct because it's in the tens place. So you're right. Right. That is like a 29, right? 4 minus 1.
3.
Excellent. So what's our answer?
329.
Excellent. Okay. So let's do it again. So let's use our rhyme. More on top. No need to stop. More on the floor. Go next door. And we're going to beg our neighbor and say, please give me 10, please. I want to go bigger. So here we go. 310 minus 200. Actually, let's not do 10. I'm going to do 312 for right now. Okay. And then minus 204. Okay. So what two numbers are we going to start with?
The 2 and the 4.
Excellent. You are very good with that. So we're in the ones place. Can I do 2 minus 4?
No.
Good. Okay. So it's not more on top. We have more on the floor. So where are we going?
To borrow from the neighbor.
Good. And who's our neighbor?
The 1.
Good job. Okay. How much are we borrowing? Please give me how much?
10.
10. All right. So if I take away 10 from 10, I end up with
12. 0.
0. Good. And then this 2 becomes a
12.
12. Excellent. Okay. And now, what is 12 minus 4?
8.
Good. And 0 minus 0?
0.
And 3 minus 2?
1.
Okay. So now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to explain to me what you just did. So tell me how you started and tell me exactly what you did.
I did 12 minus 4, which is 8. And then
No, we did something before we got that 12, right? What did we do first?
We borrowed from the neighbor.
Okay, good. So when we start, we say, okay, we had to borrow. And how much did you borrow?
10.
10. Good. And then what did you do with that 10?
I put it with the 2.
Good. And that it made the 2 what?
12.
Excellent. And then what did you do?
I subtracted 12 minus 4.
And you got?
8.
Excellent. Then what?
Then I did 0 plus 0, which is 0.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did 3 minus 2, which is 1. And I got 108.
Good. So you see how once you know exactly what you did, it's a lot easier to write the explanation. Because off camera, you were telling me you struggle with writing the explanation of your step-by-step, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so once you know and you have those rules in your head, it's going to be a lot easier for you to write down exactly what you did. So let's do it again. Let's try Hold on 1 second. There you go. Okay. 600. Let's do 610 minus 307. Okay, walk me through it. So do we have more on top or more on the floor?
More on the floor.
More on the floor. Where do we go?
We go to the floor. Borrow the neighbor from the neighbor.
Good. We go next door to our neighbor. And who's our neighbor? What number?
The 1.
The 1. Excellent. And we say, neighbor, please help me get bigger. And so how much are we going to borrow?
10.
10. And so this becomes a
0.
Excellent. And what does this 0 become? Right next to it.
A 10.
A 10. Good. Okay. Now what do we do?
We subtract 10 from 7.
Mm-hmm.
Which is 3.
Good. Keep going.
Then you subtract 0 from 0, which is 0.
Good.
And then you subtract 3 from the 6, which is 3.
Somebody's on a roll. Good job. Okay. Now, what happens when I have to borrow 2 times? So let's try that because you're doing excellent. Okay. So what happens if this number is too big? Okay. So we have 367. All right. So once again, we're starting in the 1's place. Can I do 4 minus 7?
No.
No. So where am I going?
We're going to borrow from the neighbor.
Good. And how much am I going to borrow?
10.
Okay. So this 3 becomes?
The 3 becomes a 2.
It becomes a 2. Good. And then what do I bring that 10?
To the 14. To the 4.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now what?
We have to borrow from the hundredths place.
Okay. Why do I have to borrow from the hundredths place?
Because there's not enough to subtract from.
Okay. So it's 2 minus what? So if I'm looking at this middle column, it's 2 minus what?
6.
Good. Can I do that?
No.
No, because there's more on the floor. So we're going next door and we're saying, hey, Mr. Hundredths Place, give me some. So how much are they going to give us?
100.
Okay. So this becomes a 4. And this 20 is going to become?
120.
Good. You are really smart. A lot of adults don't even know that. So good job. Okay. So 14 minus 7 is what?
5 minus 7. 120 minus 7.
So we're back to the first column, right? We're back to 14 minus 7.
7.
Good. And then 12 minus 6.
12 minus 6. 6.
Good.
And 4 minus 3 is 1.
Excellent. And so your answer is 167. Good, right? It's not as scary or weird looking as it once seemed. So does that feel better for you? Are you understanding it better?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what if there was a 0 here? So I'm just going to change it because this is where a lot of kids get stuck. So I want to make sure you're good with this. Okay. What if there's a 0 right here in the center? So can I do 4 minus 7?
No.
No. Okay. So I go to my neighbor, but what's the problem?
The neighbor doesn't have anything.
My neighbor's not home. It has nothing to give me. So I have to go 2 doors down and borrow from the 6. And that 6 is going to become
5.
5. Okay. And then where am I going to add this 100 that I just borrowed?
To the 4.
I'm not going to add it to the 4 because the 4, yes. So we're going to just right next door. Okay. So actually, we won't say they're home. We just say they don't have anything to give us. So they go next door and they say, well, I need to borrow from you so that I can give to the 4. Okay. So they borrow and they get 100 from the 6. And then that 4 is like, okay, now you have enough. So can I borrow from you? And so this 10 is going to become what? Or this 100 is going to become what?
A 90.
Good. 90. And then where are we putting that 10?
With the 4.
Good job. Okay, this is hard for even my 7th graders to get. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit more practice with this. So 14 minus 7. Okay, let me know what you get.
7.
Good. Then we're going to do 9 minus 6.
Uh, 3.
Good. And 5 minus 3.
2.
Good. Okay, you see that? So when we don't have enough, so when we go next door and they have 0 and they have to go next door, they're going to borrow from the 100. They're going to give it to our neighbor, and then our neighbor can give it to us. Okay?
Okay.
All right, let's try it again. But you are explaining this really well. So what you're going to do when they ask you to write down an explanation is you're just going to exactly what you've been telling me. That's exactly what you write down. Okay. So I think the hardest part with the explaining part of it is just the fact that you weren't sure about how to do this. But now that you know what you're doing, it should be a lot easier. All right, let's do it. So, can I do 8 minus 9?
No.
So, where are we going?
We have to borrow from the neighbor, but the neighbor doesn't have anything.
Good. So, what are we going to do now?
Borrow from the 100's place.
Good. And this 5 turns into?
4.
Okay. And that 0 turns into?
100.
Good. Now what? Are we done?
No.
What do we do now?
We add. We make the 190.
Good.
And then we put that 10 with the 8.
Good. So that 8 becomes?
18.
You are on fire tonight. Okay. So now what?
We subtract 9 from 18.
Mm-hmm.
Which is 9.
Good job. And then what?
And then we subtract 90 from the 9 from the 90.
Well, both of these are 90. They're both in the tens place, right? So these are both 90.
Yeah.
So 90 minus 90?
90 minus 90 is
Or
0.
Good. And 4 minus 4?
4 minus 4 is 0.
Good. So our answer is just 9.
Is 9.
You see that? All right. So I'm going to give you one problem, and I'm going to have you do it all on your own, and you tell me what your answer is. Okay? So
Okay.
let's see. Have you guys done 4 digits before I give you this?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Okay, I'm going to do this with you. And tell me when you're ready.
Okay.
Okay, and as we wait, if as you're watching this, you have a math question, you can go ahead and submit the question in the Google form in the description of this video. So it helps me to see what you're struggling with. So that's why I have you submit those questions on a Google form. And I allow you to join the live because it helps me to help you in real time when I can hear what you're getting and what you're not getting. There's no delays in the chat. And it works out better for the both of us. Okay. And by you going live with me, you're helping someone else who struggles with the same topic. I've had several kids who watch their peers get on and then they aced the test because they were watching the show. So it just works all around. So if you ever need math help, every Tuesday at 7:30, I am here. Submit your questions on Google form in the description of this video. All right. You still doing it?
Yeah.
Okay. No rush. You're doing good. Just let me know if you get stuck anywhere.
Okay. $299.
299. Okay, so walk me through what you did.
So I borrowed first I had to borrow from the hundreds place and give it to the 0 and got 100, and then I subtracted the 10 from the 90 and put it with the 50 from the
Okay.
100 and put it with.
So wait a minute. Where did you start? Did you start here or did you start at the thousands place?
I started at the ones place, but I didn't have enough.
Okay, so walk me through what you did again. Because you started at Go ahead.
So I had to subtract. I had to take 1 from the 3 and give it to the 0 to make it 100, and then I took 10 from the 5 and gave it like 100, and then
Okay, so tell me what these numbers are turning into when you do this. So can you do 1 minus 2?
no,
Okay, so you had to go next door. And what did you do with this 5? Because you haven't
I
told me
made
about
it.
the 5 yet. You made it what?
I made it a 6.
The 5? We had to take away from it. We had to borrow.
So I made it a 5 again. So we have to borrow from the 5, but the 5 you're gonna subtract 4 from 6.
Okay, so hold on. When you borrowed from the 5, right? We're not worried about any of this other stuff, okay? When you borrowed from the 5, that 5 turned into what number?
4.
Good. Okay. So the 5 turned into a 4. And what happened to this 1?
The 1 turned into a 11.
Good. Okay. Now, can you do 4 minus 6?
No,
So what did you have to do?
I had to borrow.
Okay. Now, can you borrow from the 0?
No,
Because it didn't have anything. So they go next door. And how much do they borrow from the thousands place?
1,000.
And so this 3 becomes a
2.
good. Okay. And the 0 becomes
1,000.
good. And then now what do I have to do to make this 4 bigger?
I give it 100.
Okay. So now this 1,000 becomes
The 1,000 becomes a
so if we needed to borrow from this, right? So that's going to turn into what number?
So it should turn into
Because we're giving 100 over here, right? So we're giving 10. So this is going to be what? This 4 turns into what?
The 4 turns into a 140.
Good. And I took away from here, right? So what do I need to do? This turns into what?
A 9.
Good. Excellent. There we go. Okay. So now 11 minus 2
is 9.
Good. Now here is where you had a little bit of trouble. And I think it's because look at your paper. Did you make this a 14? Did you do 14 minus 6 on your paper?
I made it into a 140.
I mean, yeah, but did you do 140 minus 60?
Yeah.
Oh, you did. Okay. So it wasn't 90. So you tell me you had 90. But what's 140 minus 60? I want you to try that again. So good. So you had the right numbers on your paper. I think you just told me it wrong, but you did have the right numbers on your paper. But tell me what you get. Try it again. 14 minus 6.
$80.
Good. There you go. Okay, so we got 80. And 9 minus 7?
2.
Good. So this was a harder one because we had 4 place values, right? But you did really good. So what I want you to do, though, when you start explaining it, go one step at a time. You jumped like 5 steps because you knew exactly what you were doing, but you went all the way to the thousands place and pretend like you were teaching this to a first grader, right? You're in 4th grade. So you're teaching this to a first grader and they're like, but wait, what happened to the 1 minus 2? how do we get all the way to the 3, right? So I want you to teach it. When you're explaining it, explain it like you're talking to somebody like who doesn't even know how to subtract. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So here, I'm going to give you one more. Last one we're going to do. 307 minus 198. Okay? And let me know what you get.
Ew. $109.
Excellent. Okay, now walk me through it. Tell me step by step, where did you start and what exactly did you do?
So I didn't have enough to subtract from 8.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to borrow from the 0, but the 0 didn't have anything.
Mm-hmm.
So then I had to borrow from the 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then I made that 3 a 2 and the 0 a 100.
Okay.
I made the 190.
Good.
And then I put the 10 with the 7 and got 17.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did 17 minus 8.
And what was
which
that?
is 9.
Good.
9.
Keep going.
And then 90 minus 90 is 0.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2 minus 1 is 1.
Boy, that was the best explanation I have ever heard. Good job. You see how that was much better?
Yeah.
Do you feel like you explained it better and you knew what you were talking about? Good. And that's what we're all about with More Math. Whoop, whoop. All right. So sit tight. Hold on one second. Let me remove you. Okay. So that's our show today. If you have any questions or ever need more math help, you will submit questions in the description of this video, on the Google form in the description of this video. Again, I will be here every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to help you with your math help. Try to submit those questions on Tuesdays by 7 p.m., okay? Tuesday by 7 p.m. Submit those questions so I have time to review it before the show and get you on. All right? As always, have a great day. Bye.